One, two, three. That's good. Kia ora and welcome to this new episode of the Solo Sessions. Whew. This week, a recap. This last week's been a doozy. As always, there's been some ups, some downs, some weird things that's happened. But first thing on the agenda is 3-letter, FPV. I talked about FPV drones last week, and in the last week, it's literally taken over my life. I stopped doing work and put off other things, and I was a bit all over the show because I just wanted to get into this and wanted to fly the FPV drone and just start. And I just wanted to fly the thing. So in the last week, I've had a drone arrive at the house, a headset, goggles that you wear, a controller, and maybe that's it. I dove deep after a late night Google session, and I was talking to my friend Josh. Thanks, shout out to Josh, who was like, "Are you gonna buy it? Buy it now. You should probably buy it." So I ended up buying a bunch of stuff. It came super quickly, and then I started tinkering. Oh my gosh, there were moments where I was like, "This hobby is not for me." I was like, "Wait, I'm already so deep in this." But all the background stuff, you don't just turn these babies on and fly. You got to plug them into some software that you have to download, and you can tinker and tweak with all of these things, which in a way is super cool. You can program and do all these really epic things. There's turtle mode on the little baby drone that I'm flying, where when it crashes, you can just flick a little switch and then play around, and then it pops up and flips back over. That's amazing. But you can go in and program that, and you've got to make sure everything's all sorted. And so, oh man, I flew the drone a few times, crashed the drone a few times, but luckily it's like a little tiny, I want to go grab it, but I can't bother. It's a little tiny drone that has, it can crash, it can bump into walls, it can be flown in the house, but it's been a wild ride. You get the headset turned on, you get everything going, and then you're like, no, it's not working, or it's flying funny, or then I broke a prop because I slammed into some wall in my house. And then I put the prop on, and pretty much since then, I've not been able to fly it properly. I've tweaked something, I've adjusted too many settings. Wow. I'm looking at, there's a piece of paper for those watching. I'm looking at notes on which way the prop should be rotated. I just went so deep, and it's been really frustrating, but also it's just it's going to be good fun and rewarding when I get it sorted again. But that's the week in FPV. Oh my gosh, the goggles are sweet. I got some Fat Sharks. They're really cool. I'll show you them in another episode, and when I'm actually flying properly, maybe we'll talk about it further. But one thing that happened last night on the Sunday that I want to bring up is the Conor McGregor versus Cowboy fight. If you're into UFC, or if you're not even into UFC, you'll know about this bad boy. It's it was a massive fight, and I did not pay for it. I did not go and watch it or anything, but I just woke up to the news this morning that it was a 40-second fight. I've already found it on YouTube, and I've found and watched the whole thing. It didn't take me long, but I just love Conor McGregor. He is, I don't know, he's just doing things right. His cheek and the way he presents himself, he's such he's just very, very savvy, very smart about what he does, and he knows exactly what he's doing. All throughout all those confrontations and he knows how to play his brand really well and get the Irish fans supporting him. But then at the end of the day, he performs as well. I just had nothing but respect for that. I'm like, wow, it's pretty impressive. He can talk so much shit, that guy. But then at the end of the day, if he wins, then hey, look, he can do what he wants. So I'm just saying, I'm watching you, Conor, and I'm interested to see where he goes. When he won, he was speaking to the crowd, then he just all of a sudden started talking about his whiskey brand and how they've come out with a new size bottle. I was just classic, because everyone's listening to this post-match interview and they're all going to hear about your brand. I was like, gold. The other couple of things that I wanted to talk about in today's episode that I wrote down are both TV shows. They're both Netflix shows. And because this little solo session's hey, it's recapping things that have happened, but it's also just shouting out things that I think are really, really cool. And you may hate me for this, but I'm just going to break it down. So the first show is on Netflix. It's called The Circle. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you already know that I've been shouting this out for the last few days. But it's this reality TV show where people, I'm trying to summarize it really simply, where people sit in different rooms and communicate through like online, what they call the circle, and speak into this like TV they record, but they say and message other people. Sounds so stupid. Like, it came up on my Netflix feed, and I was like, oh my gosh, that sounds so lame. Like, what the hell is this? But you give it a few episodes, and then the characters start to just develop, and you all of a sudden start cheering and supporting for people, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? Why am I liking this so much? Like, they just sit in their room, eat, and maybe they go work out occasionally, and they just communicate, and they're trying to get everyone else in their other rooms to like them the most. Then they rank each other, and people get voted off. It's simple, but effective, and all of a sudden you're in love with these different characters, and you're like, oh, the other thing is, people are catfishing. So people, because you don't see each other, some people just put a photo of someone else, and they're sitting there eating cereal, and they look completely different. And so you've got to figure out who's real and who's fake. And oh my gosh, it gets good. It's so easy to binge, and like, it's terrible but effective. That's called The Circle. If you're like looking for something on Netflix, I was not going to be, I told myself I wasn't going to be a fan, but in the end I was like, damn, this is good viewing. Like, they just played it right. Big shout out to my favourite characters, because I guess they are characters. Joey, the man, and Sammy is, she's amazing. But that was a binge-worthy show that I smashed this week. And yesterday, Nicole and I okay, so this is generally what happens. Nicole starts watching a show, I'm like, oh, that looks stupid. And then 2 episodes in, I'm like, oh, wait, so who's this again? Wait, so who's this? And I try and just jump in on her show. So that happened with The Circle. And that also happened with this other one called Cheer. It's about cheerleading. And I've seen it on my Netflix thing again. But I was like, lame. Like, that'll be so boring. I thought it was like a fake, like a show where it's scripted and everything about cheerleading. But no. It's like a docu-series about this group of cheerleaders from, I'm going to butcher this, like Navarro, Texas, a little small town, and they're incredible, and they've won heaps of world titles, or their coach has, but it's about them and their journey throughout the season, and it's only like 6 episodes, but wow, it is so it's like well shot. What gets me is that they take you through this journey of the season, and oh my gosh, it's like epic. Like, the last episode, I was just about in tears, and like, what? Like, how have they done that? It's brilliant. But it takes you through the journey of the season with like some of the characters in the team as like the main focus, but like they interview their parents, their grandparents, and they find out about seems like everyone that they obviously featured had like epic backstories. They were abandoned as a child or whatever, but then now they're battling through it to try and win the title. And I'm like, man, it was just intense. But yeah, that cheerleading, I wrote it off. I thought it was like lame, but wow, the practices and the whole organization behind a team. Like, they'd be strapping so much for like every practice. I'm like, oh my gosh, there must be some money flying around in America for stuff like that. But interesting show, well shot. I would love to film and edit or be a part of something like that, because I just want to know how they do it. Like, sure, you can, I don't know, like, let's say you pick the wrong characters and then they have a boring story arc, or let's say the team comes in last that year that you dedicate months and months and months of filming and planning. I guess that happens, but man, I was like, it looked like a lot of work. And how do you plan? Yeah, I don't know. It's like next level stuff, but it was super interesting to watch. So it's called Cheer, Cheer, not like sit down on a chair, but Cheer, obviously for cheerleading. And if you're looking for something to watch, I'd highly recommend smashing that bad boy and The Circle. If you're looking for something a little bit mindless. Something I learned this week was that on IGTV, like Instagram TV, if you don't know what that is, it's like a video hosting platform within Instagram. Hold up. I don't really use it that often. I've used it a little bit throughout the last couple of years since it's been introduced, but something I learned this week was that on IGTV you can upload videos, and I thought it was max 10 minutes, but I tried to upload these bad boys. So if you're on Instagram and you want to watch me chat, see the hand signals, see the extras, then I thought, man, these had to be a maximum of 10 minutes. And like week one of these, I uploaded it and it was about 14 minutes and it uploaded fine. And I was like, oh, damn, okay. Maybe I can just go for as long as I want. And then the week after that, it was 16 minutes. And it turns out the limit is 15 minutes. So from now on, for the rest of the year, I'm going to make sure I'm going to keep these short and sharp and at a maximum of 15 minutes so I can chuck the video on Instagram. I also put these on YouTube as well. I'm going to try my best to do that throughout the year as well. Now, let me know in an email or an Instagram message or whatever, how do you consume these bad boys? Is it the podcast version? And for me, if I'm scrolling through Instagram and I see this and I've got some free time, sure, I'd sit down and watch it. But going to YouTube, unless that's your cup of tea and you're like a YouTube person and you've subscribed to the Quality Antics podcast YouTube channel, then would you come across that? I don't know. It's an interesting thing to consider. But I'm loving your thoughts on whether I keep the videos rolling or not. But yeah, I'm loving it. So far, so good. I'm enjoying it. I've been pondering more and more on the podcast setup and what to do going forward. I had someone message me throughout the week saying, hey, I'm thinking about getting into podcasting. What mic do you use and what mic would you recommend? And I said to them, oh yeah, this is what I use. Hey, if you wanted to buy them, like, hey, I'm looking to sell because I'm looking to swap out the whole setup. And they messaged back saying, oh, well, geez, that's like really expensive pretty much. Okay, no, I don't want to go that hard out. I'm like, oh, what? These old things. Like, I guess, I thought they were a lot more cheaper than they were, but like $300 a mic, and then you got to buy an arm for like $170. So I guess it's not cheap, but like, it's a podcast. You do not want real rackety, dusty audio. So someone sitting in their car. There's nothing worse than this. I listened to a podcast this week about this guy called Sonny Webster. It was a good podcast. He's an Olympic weightlifter and interesting dude. But the podcast was like, there were two different levels. Like one guy seemed like he had a mic and Sonny didn't. So it'd be like really quiet at one stage and really loud at other stages, and it just like you're in your car cranking it, and then all of a sudden someone's too loud, it like burns your eardrums. Like, so I don't want that. So that's why I'm trying to gun for some quality, trying to look after the people who are listening, so you actually enjoy listening to it. It's not punishing. I've bounced around a lot, so yeah. So that's my update on gear, and as the next few weeks progress, either we'll jump ship, but I'm looking at like, I don't know, $1,500-ish to $2,000 to like upgrade to a whole new setup. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, it'll be in one bag. It can just plug in and go. And one thing I wanted to do this year was more interviews with people who I'm interested in or who I want to talk with. And those won't happen if I have the setup sitting around here in the home studio. So maybe I will need to jump ship and do something more portable. I don't know. I'm thinking. Music wise this week, because I mentioned that I'm gonna do some musicy stuff. It's been this one playlist. Actually, I went round to my friend's house the other day. Must give the shout out really quickly. We've got like 30 seconds left. Julia, she's leaving. She is a teacher. She's heading up to Nayland College to teach this year. Oh my gosh. Big shout out to you, Julia. All the best for the future. But her friend Guido, good friend of the show, he was playing some 20s and 30s jazz. And when I pulled up there, I was like, what is this? But this week, I'm going to try and listen to a bit more 20s and 30s jazz. It just seems so buzzy and like old school, but it's just got like a nice chill, relaxed vibe. And I kind of I had a 60s playlist that I was listening to for a while there. It's just like some old classics. And it's just cool to see where music was and now where it is. So, yeah. I'm going to find that playlist, Cheers Guido, 20s and 30s jazz, and I'm going to give that a rip this week. That's all. Solo sessions this week. Take care. Hope you have a good one. Enjoy walking the dog. Enjoy hitting the gym. I'm going to be doing that very, very soon after this coffee. I got some new Olympic weightlifting shoes and a belt this week. It's all about purchases this week. I'll talk about that next time. Take care. Cheers.